Cool. Ryan's thoughts and cars. Today, negativity. How YouTube has changed me. How YouTube has changed me. Because it does affect your real life, and it affects you in ways that you don't know. Like, I always wondered why you see content creators on YouTube who have been there for years, who have like 100 subs, and they still keep making videos, right? Like, it's not to be monetized, right? It's got to be some sort of hobby or whatever. And what keeps them going? What keeps them posting, even though they don't have followers, they're not monetized, and the thumbs up and things don't, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of thought, the idea behind YouTube was to eventually get it monetized so that you could live off of YouTube or something like that, right? And I'm starting to get it. I'm really starting to get it, because doing these videos and seeing them online, just making them, not even posting them, just making them, watching them afterwards, and then deleting them. Because I probably do about 4, 5, 6, or 7 videos before one gets posted, and I go through it and I'm like, no, I don't like this one. Oh no, I shouldn't have said that. Or I don't know, this isn't going the way I want, right? Being a little bit more picky about what I'm posting. But what I am noticing, like what I've noticed even with me, I'll go off on these rants. And I'm fairly negative when it comes to certain topics, right? And not being around, not visiting a social group consistently where you have to mind your P's and Q's, right? Doing the YouTube videos, like and I've known this about myself for a long time. I have, because I go down rabbit holes. I go down rabbit holes about certain topics, and it's usually like I break things down, but I break them down to where it ends up being a negative thing, right? Kind of like how, if you want to take this, employee equals being a slave, right? Like, I've gone down that rabbit hole in my real life, and things like dating was a big one. Like, I don't want to get too much into it, but watching those videos, I don't know how many videos I made where I deleted because I'm like, oh man, this is so negative. Like, and to provide value, I'd have to bring out something positive, right? For entertainment purposes, just going on rants, that's all you need to do. Be negative about stuff, right? And that gets everybody's hackles up and emotions flowing and things like that. And the dating one was weird because I live with women and they tell me all this stuff about dating, and I'm like, go out there and do it, and it doesn't work or anything like that. And I come home and I do the complete opposite the next time I go out, and it all works. And then I come home and they're like, you can't do that, you shouldn't be doing that, this is that. And I'm like, it doesn't matter about what's right or wrong at this point. It's like, what works, what doesn't work. And all the advice that I've ever been given by you guys doesn't work. It hasn't worked my entire lifetime. And when it has worked, it's only gotten me into really bad, sketchy things. So, no. And that kind of thing. And I'm like, what's the positive stuff that I can pull out of this, And it's very touchy, because what are the positives that you can pull out of things like, out of employment, or out of modern dating even, The positive is that there are people out there to meet. And the positive is that, yes, everybody wants to meet somebody. That's why you're out there doing this. And then you get out there and you're doing it, and it's It's like self-canceling. It's very strange. It's very strange. The same thing with, like employment, There is a boss. Yes, you are hired per hour. And it works the same way as it was in the Roman days when they had slaves, right? Slaves weren't whipped and all, maybe they were, I don't know. The thing is that they were paid, and there was upward mobility for slaves, right? Like they could become citizens and shit like that. It wasn't as bad as back in the day when I was watching like the 10 Commandments and the Egyptian slaves were being whipped while moving those blocks, right? And getting squished under them. The little old lady getting squished underneath the block, and what's his name? Moses has to save her and gets punished for it. But that's not how it worked even back then, There were stone tradesmen that actually, and it worked like it does today. It does. Probably with taxes. And that, that's the positive side of it. But, if you want to, where am I going with this? I'm starting to ramble. YouTube has changed me, because when I watch these videos back and I start listening to what I'm saying, I'm like, hey, I don't like how I'm saying that. I don't like what I'm saying. This is pretty negative, and check your attitude. What it has done is it has really gotten me to focus on how I speak, where I speak, and that kind of thing, and to check my behavior. It really has. It really, really has. And that's something that isn't talked about by a lot of YouTubers, I guess. More has happened. I've made other videos about how YouTube has changed my life, and on another channel there. And just lately, this is one that I'm really noticing. So I'm really glad that I make these videos, because it really tells me what kind of, place I am mentally, I guess. Because I'll make a video, and if it goes a certain way, I like it, and I'm like, hey, this works out pretty good. But if it goes another way, it's like, whoa, that's pretty negative. What's going on with you? It's like going to a therapist. It's like seeing a counselor. Because I am a counselor, right? Trained counselor. Educated, trained. And before, I started a video talking about a new job that I have about going to be a counselor, and that's what brought this up, because I did the video and I got negative at the end. I'm like, where did that come from? Where did that come from? There was no need for that to be in there. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. That's how YouTube has helped me. I genuinely think that you should try it. I really do. I really, really do. Because if you haven't recorded yourself and talked into the camera, talked to the audience on the other side, on the park, it was an eye-opener for me. Getting used to it and all of that, but then coming up with topics to talk about, and then you're like, whoa. Yeah. See you on the next one.